Senator Graham. There's a new study out by Jonathan Gruber of Massachusetts Institute of Technology based on Congressional Budget Office numbers, which shows that premiums for most Americans are actually going to go down under the Senate health care bill. So that's then what you've got lined up now is, according to Congressional Budget Office numbers, the deficit goes down over 10 years, costs get under control, and premiums will go down for most Americans. Why can't Republicans support that?
Well, because I don't believe that's true. To make that happen, we're going to have to reduce Medicare spending by $400 billion over a 10-year period to get the math right. We haven't reduced Medicare spending by 40 cents. So that's not going to happen. You have to increase taxes to get the revenue neutral. And when you look at the second 10 years, the deficit goes up to $2 trillion because in the first 10 years, you collect taxes for 4 years before you pay out any benefits. And when you look at the 10 years to follow, that's when the spending goes up. This whole idea of have we been spending enough, and the Afghan war is the problem, to me is ridiculous. We have been spending money on stimulus packages, growing the government in appropriation bills by double digits, now a $2 trillion spending package on health care, $2.5 trillion in the second 10 years, will make premiums go up because taxes go up to pay for it, and we'll never cut Medicare benefits to make it work, nor should we. So I think the whole thing is a sham, and we've done nothing with a doctor fix. Are we going to let the $200 billion doctor fix go into effect over the next 10 years? The House just passed it without an offset. So when you look at it, it makes an Enron accountant blush the way they're trying to make these numbers work.
What's the answer, Senator Sanders?
I voted for the doctor fix. I don't think that Senator Graham did. Bottom line is, we are the only country in the industrial. Yeah, well, we are the only country in the industrialized world that does not guarantee health care to all of its people, and yet we end up spending almost twice as much per person as any other country on earth. We got 45,000 people in this country who are going to die this year because they don't have access to a doctor. Under Bush, the Republicans did virtually nothing about health care except see 7 million more Americans lose their health insurance. So, of course, we have got to address the health care crisis. Every person in this country is entitled to health care in a comprehensive and cost-effective way.
The question is how, though, Senator Sanders. And last week I had Senator Ben Nelson. There's still some big differences among Democrats on this bill. Senator Ben Nelson of Nebraska, and he drew a line in the sand. He said he would support a filibuster to block a final vote unless his conditions are met. Here's what he said.
If the public option is wrong, if the Class Act is still in it, if there are a whole host of other items that are the same as they are right now, I wouldn't vote to get it off the floor.
Now, sir, you're a strong supporter of the public option. Will you vote to prevent the bill from getting to a final vote and actually support a filibuster if the public option is not included?
Well, let me just say this, George. The reason I am a strong supporter of an enhanced public option is for two basic reasons. Number one, the American people, for all the right reasons, don't trust private insurance companies because they understand the function of a private insurance company is not to provide health care, it's to make as much money as possible. Second of all, if we are going to control health care costs, we need strong cost containment. And one way, not the best way, by the way, which would be a Medicare for all single-payer system, and we're not going to have that. But one way you control costs is by providing real competition to the private insurance companies by allowing as many people as possible to be in a strong public option. If you don't have that public option, I think you're not going to have the cost containment we need. I would be very reluctant to support legislation that did not have a strong public option.
Well, that's final. That's the final action. So will you prevent the bill from getting to a final vote? Will you support a filibuster if it's not included?
We're going to. Well, I got to see what ends up happening. I've got about 10 separate amendments. Other people have amendments. And I think, George, I'm not just speaking for myself. I'm speaking for other senators. I'm speaking for many members of the House who are going to fight and demand a public option and a strong one at that.
Okay, we're just about out of time. Senator Graham, before we go, I want to ask you both about Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke. He's got a hearing this week, his confirmation hearing, to be reappointed as Fed Chair. And Foreign Policy magazine has named him the world's top thinker for 2009. I know that both of you had pretty heated exchanges with the chairman over this past year. Senator Graham, you go first. Is this honor well-deserved, and will you vote to confirm him to reappointment as Fed Chair?
I think he made some decisive decisions a couple of years ago at a time that kept the economy from going into a depression. But like any organization, he needs to have, we have more transparency and accountability about how the books are being used. I think he's done a very good job, but the Fed needs to be looked at closely in terms of their balance sheet.
Senator Sanders?
No, I absolutely will not vote for Mr. Bernanke. He is part of the problem. If he is the smartest guy in the world, why did he do anything to prevent us from sinking into this disaster that Wall Street caused and which he was a part of? No, I will not vote for Bernanke to stay on as chairman.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you both very much for your time this morning. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving.
Thank you.